Hello, hello. Okay, welcome to your mini reading, or if you are people watching it later, welcome. These mini readings are aimed to not only help the individual who is receiving them and asking for them, but to also help the collective as well. So within this reading, of course, this is, this is not your personal reading. As you listen along, and as you can kind of observe the charts here, what we want to listen for are things that are potentially going to be relevant in your life, gates or channels that you have, centers that you have, definition that you have in this way, and or anything that you get of value from it is good with me. Okay, so where we're going to start is right here at the bottom. I've got this client asks, or the clients ask. She says, I find myself currently at a crossroads in terms of where to place my energy at this time work-wise. I am now torn between continuing to work on my business as a dream guide or healer, or putting out my own creative performance work, or getting a regular receptionist type of job, or some combination of all of the above. So still wondering about any insights on how to be most financially successful, as well as how to live my purpose on earth, and in any place where those two things are supportive for each other or perhaps contradictory. Okay, so just based off of the ask, I want to start in a few places. I'm going to start with the last line of her question of really understanding how to live her purpose on earth. Um, First and foremost, we are always living our purpose to some degree or another. I want to throw this out there because I think it's super important. Um, Especially within the human design community, there can be a lot of talk about, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to decondition, all of these things that you may need to do before you start living your design, you start living your purpose. And from my experience, doing a bunch of readings, hundreds of readings over the years, what I have found is that everybody is living their purpose to some degree or another. Now, when we're talking about deconditioning and we're, working with the information within the charts, as we're moving through this information and we're working with it, we are going to be going through the process of deconditioning. We are going to be going through the process of filtering out what is true for us. What is us, what is not us, what is conditioning, and what is not. And what do our hearts and our souls, what do they really want? What are they asking for? And so there is that. But the thing that I want to kind of highlight here within this chart is we've got the 214 channel. I'm not sure if you can see my clicker. Hopefully you can, because I'm going to be highlighting some things. But if you look under the tropical chart, the middle chart, we've got the red channel here of the 214 channel. Within this channel, we've got a few things going on that are going to be really relevant to the question here. One of the things is, and this is one of the places that I want to first look, and especially looking in the sacral in general, because what we've got is we've got a manifesting generator. And so anywhere we've got a generator type, especially when they're asking about work, what we're really wanting to first look at is the sacral center, because this is the center that fuels life force energy. This is where we get the energy to work. And this doesn't have to look like work in terms of what a lot of people think, generators are here to do. Like, they're just here to like work, work, work. What they're here to do as their work is what lights them up and what brings them joy, and what creates a sense of vitality and satisfaction within their bodies. So here we've got a sacral center that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different gates defined. And the first gate I want to look right here, which is the gate that is creating the definition of the sacral center, is the 14. Now, within this, so I'm going to be using Gene Key's terminology here. Within this, we have the shadow of compromise. And so one of the first questions that I wanted to, if I were on a live call with this person, what I would be asking is, where are you potentially compromising? Where in the creative pursuits, the ways in which you are working and seeking to bring in resources, where are you compromising your own personal dreams? Because this gate 14 and its programming partner, the gate 8, what these gates are really about are about figuring out and aligning ourselves to the unique genius that we are here to bring, the unique contribution that we are here to make. And we make that through the different power skills, that gate 14, that we end up cultivating. And so within this, if you are chasing a dream, if you are making money in a way that society tells you is the correct way to do it, or your family tells you, or culture, whomever it is, if there's anybody outside of yourself that is dictating the direction that you are taking in life in terms of your job and your career, that is immediately so highly likely to be a compromise, right? It's not likely to be our unique dream unless we have people who really see us and recognize us, and they can uniquely guide us. But most of the time, a lot of people, what we're doing is we're following the guidance of society. We're going for the highest paying jobs, or we're just kind of going for these quick fixes. We're looking for the different solutions, the different paths to making money and resources that are already paved, that are already out there, that we can already see are established. And what this gate 14 is needing to do here, along with this programming partner 8, is it's needing to establish its own unique way of doing things, its own unique style, its own unique flair, its own unique contribution. And in order to do that, we have to figure out where we're compromising. Because once we elevate ourselves out of this energy of compromise and we really align ourselves to work that we feel truly lit up by, that our sacral is saying yes to, that feels really good for us to use our energy, when we do that, then we're automatically going to open the floodgates of abundance and more resources. We will be hindering the amount of resources the more you compromise. And so we can get trapped in these, especially generators can get trapped in these cycles and these loops where they enter into jobs and they're there and they're working and they're just continuing to power through it, for the sake of bringing in income and for the sake of having a avenue for them to pour that sacral energy into. But when there is deep dissatisfaction, especially again, when we're looking at this specific gate, we have a deep recess of resources. We have a deep limitation of resources, is really what I wanted to say. So that's my first question, is where are you potentially compromising? And then even, kind of to what I had just said, with the gate 29 that we have right there as well, what we're looking at is the gate of commitment, or the shadow of half-heartedness. And so what commitments are you saying yes to in life? Who are you committing to in life? Where are you committing your energy, where you're feeling half-hearted, where you're not feeling like, ooh, this is something that I really want to devote my life force energy to. This is something I want to devote my time to. Because within that energy, there's a tendency to overcommit. There's a tendency to say yes to a lot of things. And within that, this can create this energy where it's like, once you commit, you can't really not follow through with it, right? And if you try to not follow through with it, then it creates a whole slew of problems. And so, especially because, again, this is in the sacral center, we have to understand that anywhere you are half-heartedly committing your energy, you are not allowing yourself to fully cultivate and tap into the wealth and the power reserves that you have available. Now, the one of the top things that I immediately thought of when you see like all of these different this or this or this or this, do I do this or this or this, right? That screams gate 34, 100%. That is the gate that is tied into the manifesting generator. It connects up to the 20. And if you had that 20 there, you'd have the manifesting generator. Now, the 34 and the 20 are programming partners. So we're always going to have the energy that is at play here combined between those two of them. And so the 34 without the 20 defined has all of this energy to put out into all these different areas, but it doesn't always necessarily have the self-assurance to really go for it, or necessarily kind of have like the sense of timing. And that timing also comes in through this gate 2 here, where we're really receptive and responding to divine timing, and we're really open and receptive to opportunities being brought for us to respond to put our power skills and our sacral to use to pull us in the direction of our higher self, or not our higher self, but a higher path and a higher purpose. And so also having this 34 energy here, this 34 this 34 is a multi-passionate, like multi-talented kind of energy. If you look at it and we kind of look to see, okay, the energy could shoot into four or three other possible different gate connections, right, to form these channels. And that's very indicative of the energy itself, which is here to put itself into multiple directions. So anybody who ever has gate 34, there is never going to be one way that you are here to work, or one way that you are here to creatively express yourself, because that gate 34 is the gate of power. It's the gate of majesty. It's the gate of charisma. It has so much fuel available to it that it needs multiple outlets in order for that energy to kind of diffuse without it like exploding in a way, metaphorically speaking. So when we're saying, can I do this, this, or this, or this, or this? There's no need to choose. There is a sense of prioritization, and to tap into your sacral response and respond in the moment, for what comes up, what opportunities are being brought to you. And the opportunities are going to be important, given we've got a 1-4 profile over here in the True Sidereal chart. But this is also, looking at, okay, we've got the tropical chart of a 5-2 profile. So what we have here is we've got somebody who is actively being called out to provide solutions, to provide help to people, and to do that through universalizing their natural talents, with the line 2 over here. And so when we're following that sacral response, you have the capacity to put to use all of these different passion projects that you have to use as your sacral defines. So as people come to you and ask you for things, and you're like, okay, well, I can, in this situation, this is going to be the solution that I'm going to give you. And, when this person comes, well, this is the skill and this is the solution that I'm going to give them. So there's no need to really pick or choose one of them. Like, I would absolutely not tell anybody with the gate 34 ever to just choose one thing. Now, if we look over here, the super design is the connection point between both charts. So when I'm combining the tropical and true sidereal, this is what we get here. Now, it is important to note that I did also include Chiron gates in here. So like we'll see 6 is defined. It's only defined because we have it in Chiron. But beyond that, so we've got the 34 connecting into the 57. The 34-57 channel is very instinctual. It is a response that tunes into the splenic authority and the splenic voice that says now. And, this can look a multitude of different ways. It can look in terms of like survival, say. A really great example of this is when you're driving and say, like, you see a dog run out to the street, or baby runs out, somebody runs out into the middle of the street, and, or you're trying to dodge a car, and you're trying to dodge an accident, like, getting into an accident. This 34-57 is immediately going to like yank the wheel and redirect you, right? It's going to respond in the moment to keep you safe and to keep you healthy and well. So when we're looking at that, understand that there is this very instinctual movement that you've got here for what to respond to in these different areas for your power skills, for your the right action to come about. And that's really also what the 34 is about right action. And so the other aspect, the other question that we want to ask when we see 34 and we're talking about work is where does you putting your energy feel like you're having to force it? Because the 34 is the shadow of force. And so anywhere where you feel like you're coming up against a brick wall, or you literally just feel like this inertia, and this inertia is also going to be important because you have gate 9, which is the gate of inertia. So when you're experiencing this inertia, you're just like, oh my God, like I can't seem to move forward in this direction. I can't seem to commit my energy to this thing, like, or, you're being forced, like you're trying to force yourself, either one. I actually want to look to see where the 34 is. Okay. Yeah. So it's in Pluto. So you're going to have deep transformation and a sense of death and rebirth that's going to happen here when you stop forcing yourself and you really empower your own sense of right action in the world, because we've got it in a line 1. This is all about self-empowerment and being our own creator, and investigation as well. So really taking some time to kind of lean into the solitude there, and ask yourself where you're experiencing the sense of force, because wherever you're forcing it, wherever you're compromising, wherever you experience that sense of inertia, is going to be a place where you can probably say, okay, this is not the direction that I want to put my energy in. Okay. Beyond that, what I want to go to next is the incarnation cross gates. So in tropical, we've got the gate 41.5. This is really an important one to highlight here, because whatever this person is here to do, oops, no, I don't want to go that way. Okay. Whatever this person is here to do, they're here to bring new solutions, new experiences to people. They're here to universalize new experiences. And the way in which they do that is through tapping into their leadership and influence through this gate 31. And we can see she's got the full channel in her tropical, the 731. And that channel is all about leadership. And it says, this is the direction that I'm going in. This is where I am here to lead you. Do you want to go or not? People are going to select you as their leader or not, and especially in times of crisis. And it's also really important to, note this full channel, because between these two gates, we've got the 31 in her incarnation cross, which any gate that is in her incarnation cross is going to be one of the dominant themes in our lives. And for her, with this in her earth, this is evolution. This is a point of, this is the dynamic between the 41 and the 31, or our sun and our earth gates, are our greatest points of challenge, our life's work and our evolution. And our evolution is where we really evolve. It's where we ground our purpose down into form. So for her to ground her purpose of bringing about new experiences into the world, new solutions, bringing online new, how does he say it? Basically, she has the capacity to tap into the next program, I don't know, we'll put it in terms of like the fifth line here, the next most needed solution for society, and or like we can look at this as like the new society, because the fifth line points to society, right? We're universalizing out to society. And so for the 41, like there's this anticipation that's happening here around where we can go and what's possible. And in order for her to do that, she's got to tap into and really, really lean into her sense of leadership and authority. Now, what's going to be really tricky here is, to start with, the gate 31 has got the shadow of arrogance. And so if this person is going like, I don't want to step into this leader role. Like, I don't want to be seen as arrogant. If they're afraid to step into that energy, they're going to be holding themselves back. And that's what they're going to be projecting out, is that sense of arrogance. But when we're actually moving into the higher aspects of this, the arrogance is kind of seen as this paradox where when you are really just speaking your truth and you're living from your truth, then what it is you're saying and how you're being, it is not actually arrogant. It is the opposite of arrogant, because you are really just tapping into your true self. You're tapping into, really what you're here to do. And so the other part that I was going to say is the gate 7. She's got the gate 7 over here in her design Mars. The design Mars in Gene Keys is our core wound or our vocation. So these are two really big prominent places. So for her, within the 7.2 here, when we have it in the core wound, it is denial in the shadow form, or ease at the gift form. And so here, what we're really needing to ask is, are you denying your leadership? Are you denying your alpha? Like the 7 is the gate of the alpha. It's the guide. It is here to lead us. It is an aspect of the future. And so are you denying yourself? Are you denying society this better future, this new future that we have the possibility to get to and to achieve, when you and others who need to, I have this as well, so I feel this very personally, step into a position of authority. And so within that, the other thing that's going to be playing into account here that I want to look at is her other core wound. Her other core wound is 39.4. The 39 and the 7 together is one I know very personally. My firstborn child actually has this. And with this gate 39 is the shadow of provocation. Now let's combine the shadow of the energy of provoking with the gate of the alpha and the gate of the leader. So we have somebody here who's got really, really strong energy and presence about them. That's very possible, at least like we can deny our energy, or we can really activate it and express it. And so here we have somebody who really has the potential to be this provocative leader. Now, if she's not comfortable with that, and or because when we've got the line 4 here, we've got rejection as the core wound for the shadow. And so, there could be this possibility that her energy has, this provocative, very kind of like explosive, dynamic energy has gotten her aspects of rejection in the past, which has then just caused her to kind of compound on that denial of her leadership. Or, a lot of the things that I see with people who've got the gate 7, and I've, again, I've experienced this in my own life as well, is so often we come up against power struggles within other leaders, people who are already established as leaders. Or if we look out and we're looking to, the already established leaders, and we're going like, I don't like that. I don't want to be like them. And this is also really important for her because she's got the full channel of judgment. She's got, the full channel here in her true sidereal chart, and then she's got half of it over here in her tropical chart. So she has this energy and this nature about her that is here to judge, that is here to criticize that which is not healthy, that which is not creating a level of success and vitality and joy in life. And these two energies, that channel is so important for her because it's both of her sons in her true sidereal chart. So we've got this as her prime energy. So, there can be this essence of, how much do you accept that there is, a higher purpose and like a deep need and meaning and calling to your judgments, to the things that you assess as not being well, right? Because this channel is all about criticizing and judging and establishing what within the collective is not creating a sense of vitality and joy, and is not healthy, right? It criticizes any and all foundations of society that does not bring more joy and vitality to others. Where can we correct things? Where can we perfect things? Okay, let me see where I wanted to go next. Okay, so we talked about her leadership. We talked about her capacity to judge things. Okay, so within that, what we want to look at here, let's go back to the incarnation crosses and the profiles, because these are, where we've got prime energies happening. We've got the 5th line here in her tropical chart that's here to help. That's being called in times of crisis to externalize and universalize her natural gifts. Her natural gifts come along with her relationships. Whenever we see the 44, relationships are a very, very, very large part of this person's life. The quality of their relationship, and whether or not that relationship, whether or not we're experiencing a sense of interference within that. And when we say interference, that interference can look a lot of different ways, like people interfering with our path, people interfering with our ability to really share and express the things that we need to share and express, which is important given the fact that she's got the 44-26 in both charts. And the 44-26 is here to transmit a message. It's, kind of akin to one of the examples they use in the Human Design book. It's akin to like the politician who is, being elected by its people and who is given a platform to speak and to transmit the message for the tribe. And it's all about understanding like patterns and stuff like that within the tribe as well. So if the relationships that she's in, she's experiencing a lot of interference, then this is where we're going to need to evaluate what lessons are there, because within the 44, this is also about karmic relationships, and how when we look at the different patterns of our relationships, so often we will see these repetitive patterns. And when we look at those repetitive patterns, that's where we're going to be able to see, okay, what is needing to be corrected and perfected, right? If you haven't figured it out by now, I usually say this at the beginning of my readings, but because this is a new experience, I layer chart placements on top of one another whenever I'm working with tropical and true sidereal. So whenever we're looking at this 44, we're also looking at the 18, right? So, within her relationships, there could be this aspect of judgment, that she is either feeling towards herself, she's feeling towards others, or she's feeling, from others towards her. And so this is where we're going to, like, she's in this process of perfecting relationships and bringing about new ways of seeing things, because we've got the 24 here and she's actually got the full channel. And the 24 gets in its shadow state of addiction, it gets stuck in these closed circuit loops. Our brains get stuck in these same patterns. And so when we combine that over to the 17, we get stuck in these same patterns, and we get stuck. When we get stuck in that, we create opinions. We get stuck in these opinions, and or we adopt the opinions, with her specifically, because this is in the fourth line, we can adopt the opinions of those around us. Now, the opinions that we take on are going to have a high impact on the circuitry of our brain and how we see ourselves and how we see the world. And how we see ourselves and how we see the world is going to be really important, because we've got the 1156 here. This is a channel that's all about storytelling. And whenever we see this, we want to invite a question into, what's the story that you're telling yourself about your reality, about your experience? Because within this 11, we've got the gate of ideas. So this is somebody who's got just a shit ton of ideas. And I think we can see that from, her questionings down here of, do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? It's like, there's so many different things that she could do. She's got so many different amazing ideas. Now, these ideas are here to be put to use for the collective, right? So within this, and actually, let me see. Where do we have the gate 11 for her? It is in her Uranus. Okay. So we've got the gate 11 paired with the gate 60 over here. So the ideas that she's bringing in are really here to help us bust out of limitations, to bust out of the limitations and of structure. And that can look a lot of different ways. Basically, if I had to really, wrap a lot of what I'm seeing up is, and actually, I'll just go ahead and click on the next slide. I'm just going to read this. What I am seeing here is someone who has the capacity to create change within the world and to deeply impact their network using their natural gifts and the knowledge base that they have deeply investigated, and to bring people together to help bring about large-scale shifts to society, to help us truly establish a new experience and world for all, to allow others to feel a sense of joy, vitality, empowerment, and freedom again. The relationships this person has within their lives and their ability to be recognized as a leader is what will help bring this vision to life. Okay, so we've got the gene keys chart right here. And we'll spend some time with this for a minute. Because when we're looking at, so she wanted to know about, a lot about work. So we want to look here at the vocation, or not the vocation, sorry, the pearl sequence. So we've talked about her vocations, which are about, our vocation is our core wound. It's where we first, it's kind of like Chiron in astrology. It's where we first experience wounding. And once we move through, we're moving through the Venus sequence here, and we're kind of like, we open our heart and we kind of heal our childhood wounds, and we get to this place where we see like, oh, the thing that we were the most deeply wounded in is actually where we are here to be in service to others. So she's here to provoke people with her dynamic, energy. and to provide this very liberating guidance to her network. But again, like we said earlier, if she's repressing this, or if she's afraid of provoking people, then it's not going to go well. Or this is really where, for anybody who's got this full channel, and again, we could see that she does have this full channel here. She's got the 3955 between the two of them. The 3955 is here to stir emotions, to provoke people's spirits, and to provoke more spirit awareness, more emotional awareness. And so when I was saying earlier about the 39 and the 7 together, and like my personal experience with it within my daughter, she has absolutely been somebody who has helped me to see where I am still in a place of victimhood to my emotions, right? Like if she can say this thing in this tone, in this way, and it provokes this irrational, this anger within me, which it so often does, it's showing me where I am still in a place of victimhood. And this energy can be really tough to deal with, especially because it's individual energy. It's melancholic. She's also got the 14-2, which is individual energy, melancholic. And she's got the 61-24, which is also individual and melancholic. So there can be a lot of, especially because she's a 5-2 profile in tropical, there can be a lot of harshness that this person could potentially feel within their capacity to provoke emotions within others. And we've got 3 different emotional channels going on here, so there is a lot of emotional energy, and it's all connected. She's a single definition between everything. So there's a lot of power, a lot of energy flowing in here. We've got, and I know I'm kind of all over the place, but we're just flowing with it. We've got the 59-6. The 59-6 really seeks to go deep. It seeks to really like penetrate into life, penetrate into people. It wants to experience the depth of life. But in order to do that, it needs to break past any areas where it is being dishonest and any areas where it is afraid of conflict. And that's going to be especially important for her because the 6 is her Chiron gate. And so she's got deep wounding here within friction and conflict within community because it's in the line 4. Let's see where the 59 is. Where is it? Why are my eyeballs not catching it? Oh, it's in this chart. Okay, there we go. I'm like, wow, I'm blind. I am not seeing this. Okay, it's her attraction sphere. Oh, I love this. Okay, this is my pearl. So the 59.5 is there's power within intimacy, power within sexuality, power within honesty. And when we have it in the attraction sphere right here, we've got it in entrapment or sensuality. So the relationships, the people who she's attracting into her life, there is this invitation here to move from a state of dishonesty, to move from a state of judgment, right? Because we've got judgment over here on this other side, and move into a place of intimacy and integrity. And approaching intimacy, whether that is sexual intimacy or it is just simply, getting to know somebody, moving from a place of, okay, making sure that you first deeply, deeply ground yourself and root yourself in that space of integrity. What are my values? What is my truth here? And being willing to share that.